they burned documents as they did yesterday. Yesterday, onto the building of the state security in the city, and we found there tons and tons of shredded documents.
Okay.
And everything was exchanged. The same happened in Alexandria, the same happened in our street.
Were you personally attacked?
Yes. We were chased. The army opened fire in the air. They were actually firing in front of my face, just in front of my face. And I was telling them, how could you do that? They told us, we're not killing you. So basically, it was an intimidation. I personally was attacked by batons. I was beaten up. I was attacked by a taser. And on the other side of the street, while the army was chasing us, all of a sudden we saw thugs throwing at us Molotov cocktails, rocks, and glasses.
Just very finally, Lubna, very finally, because we're going to have to go very soon, but very finally, who do you think gave the orders to both shred the documents, as you say, and also to clash with the protesters?
I think shredding the documents, obviously, is state security officials who are still in power, even though they're not supposed to be so, because people are demanding that state security, the complete institution of state security, will be dismantled and dissolved. So, and for the army, I would suppose when the army fired at people that they got that orders from the army. That's what I suppose. I mean, I don't know any army who start firing without orders.
Okay, Lubna Darwish, thank you very much for giving us some insight as to what's going on the ground. Lubna Darwish joining us from Cairo over the phone. Let's go to Bahrain now, where protests are continuing in the capital, Manama, as the campaign for democratic reform enters its third week. Police with riot shields stood behind one gate, preventing them from disrupting a cabinet meeting. The Shia majority has long complained of discrimination and political persecution in the island kingdom. In Yemen, at least 40 protesters were wounded in clashes with government loyalists. The fighting happened in Ib city, south of the capital, Sana'a. Now, officials in the United States are concerned about the outcome of the unrest in Yemen. Let's return to Nick Clark at our Washington Broadcast Center for the details. Nick?
Yeah, thanks, Imran. Well, Yemen is a key U.S. ally in the fight against al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. Just last month, a State Department official described the group as the most significant threat to the United States, and Washington has expressed concern about who might take over if President Ali Abdullah Saleh is forced out. Here's Kimberly Halkett.
Continue to rally in Yemen. In Washington, lawmakers meet to discuss what they say is now America's most urgent national security threat.
The ramifications are all going to be very real as we look at the changing nature of what's going on in Yemen, a protected stronghold for al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula.
The al-Qaeda group has been on Washington's radar for some time. It's suspected of waging a campaign to radicalize U.S. citizens, even inspiring Nadel Hassan, the man charged with killing 13 people at a U.S. Army base in Texas. So last month, the Pentagon doubled its military assistance to the Yemen government to fight al-Qaeda. But mounting anti-government protests in Yemen are making Washington nervous about its allies' future. What happens if the government falls? It's a question AlJazeera put to the U.S. State Department.
Yes, Yemen is a very important country to the United States.
So what impact does this unrest have on that security concern?
Well, they're not mutually, they're not mutually exclusive. In other words, there is a genuine security concern in Yemen that is a concern for Yemen and for the United States.
But members of the Yemeni American community argue the al-Qaeda threat in Yemen is overstated. If the government collapses, they say al-Qaeda would have little support.
Al-Qaeda has no base with the Yemeni people. Al-Qaeda is hated in Yemen.
Despite the challenges of the Yemen protests, Washington's hopeful any imminent threats can still be contained. Kimberly Halkett, AlJazeera, Washington.
Let's move on to Mexico now, where at least 6 people have been found dead in the border city of Ciudad Juarez. Police officials say 2 gunmen shot a man in a bar early on Sunday. 5 other bodies have been found nearby. A 7th victim is in serious condition in hospital. Authorities say drug cartels are behind the attacks. Meanwhile, in the south of the country, officials in Oaxaca say 5 people have been killed in a shooting in a residential area there. Police say armed men entered a house around midnight and began firing. Authorities say bags of cocaine were found on the property. A 6.2 magnitude earthquake has shaken a northern region of Chile. The U.S. Geological Survey says the quake was centered in Putre, near the border with Bolivia. No injuries or major damage have been reported. Just over a year ago, a magnitude 8.8 quake in central Chile killed more than 500 people. Authorities in Bolivia's capital are evacuating 15 more families from a neighborhood hit by a mudslide last week. 1,700 homes were destroyed and at least 50 people killed when heavy rain caused a collapse at a hillside in La Paz. About half of the displaced have moved into government shelters. Many others are living in makeshift tents. Alberto Granado, who accompanied the Argentine revolutionary Che Guevara during his travels across Latin America, has died in Cuba. During their journey back in 1952, Granado and Guevara witnessed widespread poverty. Guevara credited the trip with awakening his political convictions. Granado's memoir of the journey was immortalized in the film The Motorcycle Diaries. Granado was 88. Thousands of people followed a 50-strong samba band through the streets of Rio in Brazil on Sunday to celebrate Carnival. Yep, at the parade in the city's business district, people were dressed as all manner of things: nuns, devils, superheroes, just about everything else you can imagine. Pretty good going considering there was a big fire in the city. That's all for now. In Washington, let's head for the sport with Stuart.
Yes, thanks, Nick. And England have proved once again why they're the most unpredictable side at the Cricket World Cup, following up Wednesday's defeat to Ireland with a victory over South Africa, one of the tournament favourites, in another thrilling 50-over match. Joanna Gajrowska watched the action.
South Africa and their fans have been enjoying their moment in the sun at this Cricket World Cup. With 2 wins from 2, their confidence was boosted further as Robin Peterson dismissed both the England openers in the very first over. Skipper Andrew Strauss went for a duck, while Kevin Peterson was gone after just 2 runs. Imran Tahir then grabbed 4 wickets as England were all out for what seemed to be a paltry 171. Strauss's men had already suffered a shock defeat to Ireland in this tournament, and their bowlers were determined to avoid another loss. But South Africa made 63 runs before captain Graham Smith was removed, although it didn't actually look like he'd touched the ball on his way to being caught. That seemed to change the momentum. Stuart Broad was on target to bowl Hashim Amla, and just 7 runs later Broad struck again, Jacques Kallis going. South Africa went on to lose their last 7 wickets for just 41 runs by the time Broad took his 4th and final scalp, England clawing back an unlikely 6-run win, which should be enough to help them take one of 4 quarter-final berths from Group B.
Well, it was a huge game for us. You know, after the Ireland game, we really needed to come out and show some character. You know, we definitely needed to do that. We didn't do it as much with the bat as we would have liked, but to be fair to the guys, they dug very deep in the field.
We knew chasing today was going to be tough. You know, and we knew we had to restrict England with the ball, and 170 I thought was a